Well, at such a dark time, it's nice to see that we do have allies in Israel, even in some of the unlikeliest of places. And speaking of allies, Australian actor Nate Buzolic, most known for his role in The Vampire Diaries, has come out in strong support for the state of Israel. Following the Hamas massacre, he released a video that went viral on social media. Nate broke down the hypocrisy of how Palestinian activists and leaders falsely claim Israel is doing to them what in fact they are doing to Israel. Here to speak with us today about this video is Nate Buzolic. Nate, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Can you share with us what motivated you to create this video, and have you faced pushback?
Yeah, I've been supporting Israel for about 7 years, since the first time I actually went to Israel and experienced and saw firsthand the reality, what happens on the ground. And, shortly after sort of returning and sharing my experience in Israel, I received a barrage of hate and anti-Semitic vile DMs and the traditional stuff you essentially see from pro-Palestinian people online. So this video was really just knowing the strategies and the tactics that these groups tend to use. So I think it's necessary that we fight the battle where it is happening, and now it's happening more than ever on social media, where the Palestinian narrative, which doesn't use any form of truth, continues to propel and, justify the violence that's happening to Israelis on the ground.
Now, you spoke about the Palestinian hypocrisy quite a bit in the video. I know you've released another one. We'll get to that in a second. Is this something you think that the rest of the world understands when it comes to this conflict?
I think the biggest reality that we've discovered in the light of these atrocities from Hamas is that traditionally pro-Palestinian groups online will have no affiliation, or they'll say we're not with Hamas, we don't support what Hamas does. But that has been blown out of the water in the last 48 hours. What we've seen is that the pro-Palestinian propagandists on social media are in full support of Hamas. They actually are encouraging and celebrating what Hamas has done. And, for many of us who have been supporting Israel on social media for a long time, we're aware of this. But now it's time for the world to realize that pro-Palestinian people online are very much in support of the current terrorist organization Hamas, which I think is really, really important to highlight.
Now, what motivated you? You mentioned you've been doing this for about 7 years. What was it that motivated you to speak so publicly about Israel, given that there is so much animosity and hostility that you and others face when speaking out online?
Yeah, you would think that most people that had any sort of critical thought, looking at the reality of what's actually unfolding, would easily see that Israel has been the victim in this ongoing conflict that has really been going on since 1948. But sadly, so many people are blinded to the reality that every single thing that has created conflict in this region has been motivated and initiated by pro-Palestinian groups, whether it's Hamas, whether it's the PLO, whether it's, Fatah, and, the number of different terrorist organizations that continue to operate in Israel. So, it's really about just getting people to wake up and see the reality that the real victim in this conflict is the Israeli citizens. It's both Arab and Jewish citizens of the nation of Israel who have continued to face such violent acts of terror. So for me, it's just really, really important to fight the lies that continue to exist and breed on social media. And I think a lot of that, and the reality of that, is when you have a population of, Arab and Muslim world, making up about 2 billion people and a population of about 16 million Jews worldwide, you realize that they're really, really outnumbered in the truth battle. And what happens when people start believing the lies of Hamas, believing the lies of the pro-Palestinian groups online, is they start to justify this bloodshed that we're seeing happening in Israel, which is absolutely shocking. Nobody should be celebrating the rape, murder of women and children like we're seeing. But even yesterday in my hometown of Sydney, there were groups of Palestinians who were celebrating what had happened in the last 48 hours and burning the Israeli flag in front of the Sydney Opera House. These sort of images are shocking to me, to think that the world will sit back and watch innocent Jewish blood be spilt and not only say nothing, but do nothing.
Mm-hmm. Now, we've also seen a lot of actually celebrity support so far this time around in this conflict, and we haven't seen that in the past. I'm just wondering what your take is on why that is. Why is it different this time?
I think it's a lot harder for celebrities to take the side of the Palestinian movement, knowing now what they're capable of. I think for many of us who have been supporting Israel, we've been trying to articulate what it's like for the nation of Israel to live side by side with people who want to see their annihilation. I think the pro-Palestinian movement is very, very honest. That, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free is a declaration of genocide. And I think a lot of celebrities didn't really understand the nuances of what the Palestinians have been trying to claim for a long time. And now we get to see what that slogan looks like in real time, which is horrific. So I think celebrities are now being torn because they realize what they've been supporting for a long time is genocide, violence, terrorism. And so it's harder for them to just simply put up a Palestinian flag. Mm-hmm. I think what we also need to realize is that while celebrities are starting to shift, we have a huge movement in the Islamic world where I've even received messages from friends in the Middle East who are saying that there is celebrations going on, and there's also calls for Muslims all around the world to start donating to the Palestinian cause. Mm-hmm. In countries like Qatar, Yemen, Morocco, I've been receiving multiple messages from people all over saying that this is being celebrated, and also that the continued lie and the narrative that the pro-Palestinian movement continues to push, which the Palestinians are the victims in this story, is actually expanding, and it's mobilizing more Arabs, more Muslims to forge a relationship with already what we're seeing on the ground, which is to support Hamas and to support this violent
Nate, I'm so sorry I have to cut you off. We're out of time, but I want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today and continue all the work that you're doing. I think it's much needed. You're inspiring many people, so keep it up and thank you.
Thank you.